Welcome to another episode of the Ask Mrs. HR podcast. Have you ever asked yourself, where are the Black men that will lead the next generation? Well, they're on this podcast today, so stay tuned for another Ask Mrs. HR episode. Welcome to the Ask Mrs. HR podcast, where we talk about everything that involves humans and resources. I want to make sure that we have access to everything we need to be successful in our career, in our life. And, I just know a lot of cool people, so I bring them here on the podcast to encourage me and to encourage you. But today, as you know, we are in season 2. And one thing I recognized in season 1 is it was very female heavy. And I've said, we ended the podcast with our executive producer, Octavius Johnson. But I said, you know what, in season 2, let's have some more men on the show, because especially Black men, they are very important to me. I know Black men. I have a lot of Black men in my life. And I want you to get to know the power of a Black man. You've seen the recent episode with me and my husband and just his vulnerability. And now I got someone else from my family who has traveled all the way from the East Coast just to be with me. And I'm so excited, but I can't have loud outbursts. So I have to try to keep it down for y'all. So let me introduce you. As you know, I have to read the bio. And I am going to introduce you to someone who is very special to me. His name is Naseed Gifted. He is an Afrofuturist visionary. That's right, Afrofuturist visionary. He is an educator. He is an award-winning creator dedicated to empowering youth through STEM, science, technology, engineering. Thank you. I need help. Engineering. And then there's arts, right? So you can say STEAM. Do you say STEAM?
Yes, you can say STEAM.
Okay. Engineering, arts, and math. Comics and media. He's a Newark native, not Newark native. He's vice principal at Science Park High School. He holds an engineering and education degree, and he teaches robotics. Oh my goodness. I didn't even know that part. He founded KhemFest, celebrating Black creators, and Focus with a P, PHOCUSED, Black Star Media. He produces Afrofuturistic comics like PB Soldier, which is beautiful, by the way, and films like Blacklisted. A Glyph Award nominee and STEM advocate, he speaks nationally on diversity, my favorite, and using comics to teach STEM. His work bridges education, innovation, and community impact. So welcome. And he's my cousin too, by the way. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Look at
Peace
that.
and blessings. I mean, I'm honored to be here.
Look at my cousin, y'all. Okay. I'm happy to have you here. So what was it like traveling from the East Coast to the West Coast this time around?
I found some difficulty in it, only because I flew Spirit.
Oh. Well, you set yourself up for that.
The first thing that they said, was, we apologize because the Wi-Fi is not working.
Oh,
so, you could just imagine a flight with no type of entertainment. So, 5.5 hours. I tried to sleep, wasn't really working, so I mean, I got an opportunity to do some writing and stuff. So,
good.
just kind of
That's the spirit.
just make some things happen, make the best use of the time. They say at that altitude that the mind functions at a higher level. Wow. So being able to do that, I mean, that's the science behind it. So generally I usually fall asleep during that time, but I tried to maximize that, and doing some stuff.
Wow, that is deep. Well, thank you for surviving Spirit. The one time I was on Spirit, and I think a piece of the molding of the window came off.
Oh, man.
And I said, never, ever, ever again. And then, another time, I'm sorry, I was on that airline. I won't keep bashing the airline. But they would not give me a cup of water. You have to pay for water, right?
Yes. I remember I did
water.
doze off at one point, and the cart came around, so I was like, yeah, let me get
They had a cart.
cran apple. It's like $4.50. I was like, $4.50.
Oh my goodness!
I was like, let me just drink my water. What am I doing here?
So we've known each other since we were little.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, and
I don't remember not knowing you.
yes, I mean, you are, a little older than me, so I would think so. But I mean, just so the audience know and your viewers know that you've always been an inspiration, when we talk about, college and, doing some things, I always look to you for, kind of leading the way, leading the path, as a young man, trying to find his way and everything, you look to the individuals that are, doing what you want to do in life. And, you will always kind of push it forward. I mean, just knowing your past and then how you were able to persevere and be able to push through, you've always been a model, for people to be able to follow. So
thank you.
If you don't know, make sure you follow my cousin here.
Yes. Well, before I knew you, I knew your dad.
Yes.
Mr. Ronald.
Yes.
And he would give me a hard time every day. When I first started driving, he'd say, move your car out the driveway because I'd be visiting my cousin, my sister, Dawn, and my cousins in the neighborhood. And he would always give me a hard time, but he was one of my favorite people in the world, my first real uncle, because the other uncles were high all the time, so I couldn't really talk to them. So he was an uncle that actually talked to me and would joke and would be encouraging, and you definitely see him all over you. So we're going to dedicate this episode to him.
Okay.
And then your mother, oh my goodness, she is the sweetest example. Aunt Gwen, what's up, Aunt Gwen? How you doing? She's going to be so excited.
Oh, yes. Hello, Mom. Welcome to the podcast.
She's going to watch this thing over and over and over and over. So she's been seriously like a number one support. She takes pictures and put them on Instagram with my book. And then she sends me gifts. Not too many people from New Jersey. So since I moved to California. Yeah. So I knew I was going to talk about this when I talked to you because I really wanted you to know how she and your father impacted me. But she impacts me now because it's hard to send people gifts and cards.
No, she's very thoughtful and everything.
She is extremely thoughtful.
Yeah. She tries to make sure that she's getting something that's useful, something, that you would need. So, I mean, shout out to Mom Dukes because she keeps the family together, just by, just being deliberate and intentional.
She really is. She makes me want to be better too. So thank you so much. And I'm also encouraged that you mentioned that because I think a lot of people, and you probably could speak to it with your students, they don't believe that we came, or especially, I came from a struggle, like my drug addicted parents and me and my mom's doing better. People always ask me, is your mother still on drugs? No, she's not on drugs, even though she probably would tell you she still smokes a little weed. So, but no, it's been a journey and it was a struggle. I'll share that on another episode, and people don't really know that or believe that about me.
Yeah, because they see where you are, not where you come from, I mean, the diamond that you are now, didn't realize that you were cold in the beginning.
Oh, my goodness. Dropped. I love it. Oh, that's awesome. How am I going to not get excited? I'm supposed to be trying to stay calm. So let's talk about, first of all, let's exchange gifts before we forget. Yes. So I wanted to give you the Diversity Dilemma book. So you see it on the set, and it says, Naseed Gifted, my cuz. May this book encourage you to continue the amazing work you're doing. So that's that. Take that book.
Wow. Thank you.
And then I wanted to share this. I'm very intentional right now because you do so, graphics and illustrations. So I have that somewhere in my spirit. And this is Mrs. HR. So this is her, she's a superhero, kind of like PB Soldier, but not, but she, this is my version. Oh, no. This is my version of a superhero. And inside the calendar.
Oh, wow.
Thank you. Inside the calendar, it has like diversity. Skip on that, Pet. Just keep going. It has diversity and days that you should remember to celebrate our culture. So enjoy.
No, thank you.
And for our audience, if you go to my website, you can download that calendar for free, the PDF version. Ta-da! So that's that. And so now look at what I have that's even better. I know I shouldn't say that, but it is a lot more work has gone into. Look at this. I don't know if we could do it. How can I do that? Look at this. Okay. Tell us about PB Soldier and this work. I mean, this is so beautifully done. Look at the bookmark. I'm an Afrofuturistic fan. So one of my favorite writers is Octavia Butler.
Oh, yes. Same here.
I believe she's known as the mother of Afrofuturism.
Yes, but, you know, Afrofuturism does date back to, I mean, and I hate to, you know, talk about the slave trade and everything, but, you know, when you get Frederick Douglass, and, they were Afrofuturists too, because they spoke about, you know, the life that you will lead beyond, you know, slavery and everything. So, you know, you have to dream. So Afrofuturism is about, you know, knowing the narrative, the future narrative, and our perspective on that. And they talked about the generations. I mean, you know, you get to Martin Luther King, you get to Malcolm X, you get to Marcus Garvey, who saw a future, you know, that was different from the normal day present. And that is Afrofuturism in a nutshell.
We could end this episode right here because y'all need to be sending like some gifts to my podcast for that level of information you just received. I mean, that is beautiful. I have a quote in my book somewhere in there, and it's kind of a paraphrase right now, that all change is a form of science fiction.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have to imagine that change in order for that change to happen.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so that was beautiful. Okay, so let's get back to PB Soldier. Now, when I first saw these books, I'm like, who did the illustrations? Who does that?
So I have an illustrator out of Barcelona, Spain,
really?
Abel Garcia. Abel Garcia, who's been working with us on this, you know, various project.
Yeah.
The graphic novel that you have right now is actually 6 books that were actually we were doing serials at first, and then we combined them into the graphic novel. So that's 176 pages of the story. And then beyond that, we actually launched our latest edition, which is Jason, the Rose That Grew from the Concrete,
beautiful.
which was the spinoff from the PB Soldier series. And because of the popularity of her, you know, within the story, you know, she actually got her own spinoff and own story. But PB Soldier, just to, you know, to speak to the journey and what it is actually about, it's Afrofuturism adventure set in the near future where we live in a world where everyone's considered a terrorist. PB Soldier, who's one of the world's top hackers, has just been labeled a top terror threat in this world and has to work underground off of the books for the newly formed world government called the Establishment. As he's seeing a life that's not of his own, is actually his ancestors hacking into him while he's hacking into the world. And that's pretty much where the story kicks off from, where he's trying to get an understanding of how his past connects to the present and paves a pathway for the future.
Oh my goodness. You just described 2025.
Well, I mean, and you know what's funny?
Wait a minute.
This was written through a conversation I had with my son, right? But it was set for around this time.
Oh my goodness.
But we actually started the story in about 2008, and then first went into print in 2012.
Wow. But seriously, what you describe is so like related and parallel to our current day.
I mean, and that was what it was. It was supposed to be a foreshadowing. So we took things like the Patriot Act.
I talk about that all the time.
The Patriot Act, stop and frisk.
I gotta stop
you know, or, and said, what would this look like in, you know, in the urban environment, in the regular neighborhoods, if we had to amp it up a little bit. And we did a lot of foreshadowing with that. And now, when we look at this present day, you know, we actually could see a more parallel future to what's actually happening today.
People just getting, you know, taken away and put in other countries and other prisons. I mean, this is happening. It's probably happening right now, but it's always been happening. We know this. However, let's go back a minute to the Patriot Act, which was created under the Bush administration after 9/11. I know because it affected us in the workplace. Because the act gives people the right to pretty much, if they feel you're a terrorist or have any terrorist ties, they can shut down your workplace, take all your computers, shut down your phones. I mean, this is a law that's in existence right now. And I tell people that all the time. And I feel like they're just not hearing me. What do you think? How do you deal with that?
I mean, well, the Patriot Act, and I mean, you know, the unfortunate event of 9/11 is actually how I got into education. You know, I was working in the engineering field for a number of years before transitioning into education, but part of 9/11, the market was hot, right? As a young Black man who becomes an engineer, you know, with no kids, no family and everything, I was a thousandaire. I was a thousandaire. I was making a little bit of money. And because I was a thousandaire, you know, and didn't have all these responsibilities, I was able to have access to more capital than I would, you know, did as, you know, anything else. So I actually took a hiatus and I started traveling the world. I did what most people would do for spring break, you know, but I, you know, had to do that, you know, after college and everything, because, you know, was a poor college student, you know, and being able to do that. But during that time, you know, like I said, the unfortunate event of 9/11, the market shrunk. And the same resume that I was getting 5 calls on, you know, especially, you know, now with my name, Naseed Gifted, you know, those calls wasn't being returned. And, you know, the amount of money that I actually saved, you know, I thought I was going to be doing some day trading. I had, you know, business. We was doing a clothing line and all this stuff. You know, I kind of like jumped out the front window, and, you know, the money started drying up and all this other thing. So I started looking for different opportunities, still trying to find my way back into engineering, and became a substitute teacher. And when I became a substitute teacher, I actually had an opportunity to go to Arts High School. Shout out to Arts High School.
Shout out Arts High School.
As well as Science High School at the time. And I was in a math class as a long-term sub. And it was the young people who influenced me to want to become a teacher. And, you know, 20 plus years later, you know, I went from substitute teacher all the way through the ranks up until principal, you know, and now, and now vice principal at Science Park High School, you know, in Newark. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
So now, which school was Shabazz?
Shabazz was where I was principal.
That's okay. Now, you ever hear Barringer?
Yes.
What's the name of Barringer now? Is it
No,
still
it's
called
still Barringer. Yeah, it's still Barringer.
Okay, because my dad went to Barringer.
Yeah, it's still Barringer.
Did your mom go to Barringer?
No, my mother went to Westside.
Oh, okay.
My mother went to Westside High School.
Because she was in the yearbook with my uncle.
Oh, okay.
My Uncle Harvey.
Yes.
Who just passed. Okay, but that was Westside.
Yeah, it was Westside. Yeah,
but
she went to Westside.
that's amazing. I bet when they were in school, were there Black principals?
I don't think so. Not back then. Yeah, I don't think so. Not back then. Not back
No, I don't think so. Well, that was amazing. I mean, that's so encouraging to hear your journey and how you're incorporating your work with PB Soldier and your other businesses. So how do you tie that in? How do you balance it all of your interests while you're assistant principal?
Well, I mean, I have one personal mission, which is my focus on, you know, inspiring the next generation of technology leaders. So all of this ties into that. So the graphic novel series ties into STEM. You know, the KhemFest that we produce ties into STEM as well. So we look at all of the different opportunities that because you're passionate in animation and gaming, you know, and I always talk to parents and everything about, you know, kind of flipping the paradigm. Black and brown people make up less than 3% of the STEM workers, you know, but also when we talk about animation and gaming, you know, we're the biggest consumers of these particular products. But when you look at the credits at the end of a movie, you know, these $1 million, $200 million projects, we are not in the credits, right? So there's a ton of STEM opportunities that's within these particular fields, but we don't know enough about the industry to be able to be included into it. So I do a lot of work around, you know, awareness and just making sure that people can take their passion and turn that into a career opportunity.
Right. So I really want to ask you because, you know, I have children who 26, one is 26, one is 32, and one just turned 35. But my youngest, and he's 26, and then that age group, I've been hearing a lot of comments from them that their generation can't find work, that it's difficult out here for a Black man, which has always been, I guess.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So how do you encourage the youth, I don't know what else to call them, Gen X, Gen Y,
I mean,
you just said there's a bunch of jobs out here.
No, I mean, it definitely is. And
so what's happening? Why aren't they
it's
doing
about the connection and you know, how you're marketing yourself.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've learned, and, you know, sometimes you have to go after what you are looking for, and find your way in by any means necessary, right? You need to be able to tap into that.
Moment. Go ahead.
You know, sometimes we need to make the sacrifice early in order to be able to, you know, get through the doors that we need to get into. Sometimes you may need to work for free in order to gain the experience that you need in order to be able to have that part of your resume as part of your experience, but also being able to network and get you those opportunities to be able to get your way in.
Can I tell you, when I started, I was about 17 years old, and around the time you probably were 9 or something, I don't know. But I had started working at Fox Television. That was my first internship.
I remember.
I know. I mean, because you were little, you probably were like young. And it was a big deal. It was a big deal getting in there, even though some, you know, we talked in another episode about this thought about crabs in the barrel and people, and they didn't understand. But my point is, I never forget, I was getting paid about $8 an hour. But it cost me, I'm so sorry. I made about $25 a day, something crazy. Oh. Whatever I was making, it cost me twice as much to get to the station. I was making a negative deficit, and I wasn't getting paid anything because I was just getting a stipend, and so I had to work 2 other jobs. I was working at the Union Marketplace that used to be in Union. Shout out,
shout out.
And I was selling glasses, and people would come by tapping on that little glass. Like, can you see these glasses? And I was working at Fox, and I had other hustles, but they didn't pay any money. They paid nothing. And it cost me more to get there. But after a year of like really showing myself, doing internship work, they hired me. And I ended up being at Fox for almost 7 years. And so I just wanted to share that. But people always see, oh, she was at Fox. But I was there. I wasn't making any money. And at the time, a lot of my friends were drug dealers.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And they were laughing at me like, oh, you stupid. You working at Fox, but you only making $5 an hour or something ridiculous. And they used to make fun of me. I just wanted to say that.
No, I mean,
but I'm sure that's what some of your students are like. I need to make money. I
mean, you do, but also you gotta, you know, look at, you know, what's the end game, right? What's the goal? I mean, you can make money right now, or you can make money, you know, moving forward and everything. So sometimes you gotta make that sacrifice in order to be able to get to where you're going in life, and sometimes this generation don't want to make that sacrifice. They look for the immediate gratification. You know, and I don't want to talk about this, but this is the generation of the 5th place trophy, right? Oh. So the 5th place trophy, you know, where you get a participation trophy, you know, they look for that, okay, I got this, and now, you know, stuff is being given, but being able to, you know, go out and work and grab something, you know, because I know growing up, you know, we wouldn't even display the 5th place trophy, right?
They'd be like,
it's first and second place. And second place, you wouldn't even talk about the 2nd place trophy. Like, yeah, that was, you know, but next time I'm getting the 1st place trophy, you know, that type of thing. Yeah. But that's the drive that we kind of have. You know, and I don't want to get into no generational wars or anything like that, but you definitely got to be able to persevere and, you know, have some resilience to be able to push through.
I think this generation has so much opportunity with the social media. On the way here, we were talking about the TikTok DJs getting money. It was just, I mean, I always think.
So many opportunities in allowing the entry points, you know, I mean, for... You know, someone who was trying to get into Fox News back then, now you can actually have your own news channel. You know, like if you wanted to develop it, you know, via podcast or, you know, YouTube or anything like that. Those opportunities weren't afforded to us, you know. I mean, and now whatever you dream, you can actually, you know,
just make it up.
You just make it happen. And as long as you got the drive to kind of be consistent and push through.
You can even ask ChatGPT, how can I fulfill my dream today?
And it definitely will
give me a plan.
Yep, and it definitely will help and support. Be your first agent.
I'm excited. I'm excited to be born in this time and to be living during this time. But I want to make sure we touch on some of your projects. And so we know that you dedicated your career to STEM.
Yes.
Why don't you say STEAM? Do you say STEM instead of STEAM?
Well,
I'm just curious. No judgment.
STEM has been, I think that's been more of the relatable tagline that most people will relate to.
STEAM. If you say STEAM, you're like...
I say STEAM, you know, people are not connecting the A as much.
Kind of like DEI.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to thank the new administration for bringing DEI to everyone's attention, because that's exactly what STEM was. Or STEAM. They were like, what's DEI? I would get that all the time. But now people know what it is. So awesome. So Blacklisted.
Yes.
Give us an inside look at Blacklisted. What is that about?
So Blacklisted is actually the animated version of PB Soldier.
Oh my goodness.
So that is...
I did not know that.
Yes.
Seriously.
So that's the new animated short film that we developing. And now we are on a tour through the film festival circuit and everything.
Does your shirt say Blacklisted?
Yes.
Please show the shirt.
Yes. It's Blacklisted.
Look at that.
And if you scan the QR code, you can actually go right to the trailer.
Scan the QR code. Seriously, I've been sitting with him for maybe 3 hours. I did not notice the shirt said Blacklisted. Very nice. Okay, so tell us about Blacklisted. So you're on a tour now?
Well, yes. So the film, we're putting the film in various film festivals.
Okay.
We are currently, and we're just waiting for the notifications and everything. Currently, we are going to be at the Las Vegas Black Film Festival towards the end of this month, which is...
Applause.
We were celebrating that. We entered in a number of other film festivals. We just waiting for the notifications and everything. And then we'll do a premiere sometime in September during KhemFest. And, just kind of, but this is our Afrofuturism adventure, proof of concept, just kind of letting people know that, it's a 8.5 minute film, based on the graphic novel series PB Soldier.
Amazing. I'm proud and happy. I don't even know what to say. I mean, that is amazing. So where can people watch Blacklisted? Can you watch it now?
Yes. Well, you can watch the trailer. Yeah. So the trailer is available via YouTube.
Okay.
So we have that on our PBS Media Studios channel on YouTube. So you can see the trailer, and then of course we'll have the film available coming shortly after we go through this whole film circuit.
How long did it take to make the film?
So being that I'm new to the process and new director and everything, been, of course, writing the graphic novels, but, doing animation is something totally different. So there is it was a learning curve to it. So, from the doing voiceover direction and everything, and directing with the animation and the animators and the background designers. So it's so many different layers that are added to this. Got a composer. By the time we got the whole project, the animation together, it was probably about 5 or 6 months, and then literally just finished the final edits at the end of this year. So the whole process pretty much took about a year to be able to do, getting key players into place, looking at the talent, all of these various parts. And I'm, definitely a perfectionist when it comes to, developing a particular project. When you have your baby and you want to, put it into the universe, you kind of keep tweaking. Even before this festival, we just kind of tweaked it because we're doing a rebranding. So now PB Soldier is actually going to have a rebranding into just Blacklisted, so the series is actually just going to be Blacklisted.
That's amazing. Wow. I just have a wow, but I'm going to keep going. So where do you see Afrofuturism going in the next 5 years? What do you see for...
Well, I mean, because of, films like Black Panther and everything, it's becoming more mainstream. So, of course, you have your independents who have been doing, projects around Afrofuturism. But we see Afrofuturism all around, from, your Octavia Butlers, to your Erykah Badu's, your Missy Elliott's, from the visual standpoint, as far as the music. You go back to Sun Ra, then you also have the Funkadelics, and and all of these other individuals who've been doing this Afrofuturism movement, but it didn't have a label to it.
Right.
But now it's coming more to the forefront. I mean, you even have individuals like Outkast, whose music and their visual element actually, spoke to Afrofuturism and stuff. But we talk about, the future, right? And what that future narrative, what would America look like if we weren't brought over as slaves? Like all of those different questions and everything, an uncolonized area was technologically advanced like Wakanda, what do Black people look like in space and, in other realms? How does that narrative look? I mean, that's all Afrofuturism in itself. So
I feel like I need to change my career and just start working on some Afrofuturism. Well, I actually have a book I've been working on. I don't talk a lot about, but everyone in my family is kind of aware of it. It's called Esclava.
Oh,
and it's
nice.
about, it has an element, I think I was talking to you about it briefly, an element of Afrofuturism because it's about a woman who was abducted from her country, Cuba, and brought over into the Carolinas and sold into slavery. But she has special supernatural superpowers like telekinesis, the ability to harm others. And so
I don't know if you want to give everybody that before you put the book out.
It's out. No, it's okay. I believe nobody can nobody take it. But it's called Esclava, and it's pretty much done. I'm hoping to get the book out this year, maybe by Christmas.
Oh no, you want to get it out this year.
I'm going to get it out this year.
Along with all these other projects that you're working on.
So speaking of, how do you get these things out? Give me some advice. Give the audience some advice. This is a lot. I do a lot, but you do a whole lot. You're working with kids in the school. It's
late nights, early mornings, and weekends. That's kind of like how you get it. You got to get it done.
Oh my goodness.
You maximize your 24 hours.
Do you use planning tools?
Yes, I use a very simple planning tool.
Okay, what is
I take a piece of paper.
Oh.
I fold it into 8 squares, or 8 rectangles or whatever, and then I write down the 3 most. It comes from the checklist manifesto, and I write down the 3 or 4 most important things that I need to get accomplished for that day, and then I start checking the stuff off. That right there,
y'all can send money now because y'all didn't know anything about that until he just told you.
I mean, and the reason you folded into that,
that's amazing. The checklist manifesto.
Yeah, so you have it, and it's about this big when you fold the paper or whatever, and you do that for so make sure that you're not you don't have a laundry list of things, but also you can keep you got to be able to stay focused because there's so many things that you're doing with throughout the day, but these are the 3 most important things that you would like to get accomplished for that day, and then being able to check those things off. So now I got 50, 20 papers, and each one of the papers have about 16 days on it, with that. And now you take that and
I need to close my mouth. I'm sorry, because I'm just like blown away. So you keep this in a folder?
No. I keep it in my back pocket or my front pocket.
And then when you're done, you throw it.
I put it. I have a box that I put a lot of my stuff in.
Wow! So one day, your great grandchild is going to look in this box and see the genius of.
Yeah, that in my notebook. That in my notebook.
That was brilliant, though. Seriously. So I would say, because is there any software you use at all?
Well, see, for me, I used to use my phone to do checklists and alarms. For some reason, the alarm will go off and I still will forget to do.
Yeah.
I will hit snooze or stop, and I still wouldn't get a chance to do it. But the metacognition of actually writing down the goal and then putting it in my pocket, and then knowing that it's in my pocket makes us a deeper connection to what you actually need to do with for that day.
You got to be my family member because you deep. This is deep over here. So I'm gonna ask you, like, where do you see yourself in the next few? I mean, I almost hate this question, but what else is there? What else are you going to do?
What else am I going to do?
You going to do this on the moon or in space?
Well, I mean, we'll love to start building in space and everything, settle the next colony.
Yes. Is that really the plan?
I mean, that's not the plan at the moment, but, moving, in a distance. But you know, in the near future, we're looking at, you know, developing the animation series. So we're looking to do that.
Awesome. Okay, I'm gonna do a quick game that I've never done before. We're gonna do some rapid fire questions.
Okay.
So the first one, your favorite comic book?
All right, Wolverine. Okay. I'll just say that.
I like Wolverine too. He's one of my favorites. What would be your dream collaboration with?
Machindo Kumba.
Okay, who's that?
He's an Afrofuturistic illustrator.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you haven't seen it, check his work out.
Okay, I think that's gonna happen. The sci-fi book or film that influenced you the most?
I would have to say all of Octavia Butler work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, her works has definitely been a big influence in what I've been doing.
I just want to add, just to get to know about me a little bit, the time that I did spend with my mother growing up, she had this big, one thing we didn't have any furniture sometimes, but we had books. Mm-hmm. And she was that mother who bought the encyclopedia book. You know how they used to sell? Mm-hmm. And she had every encyclopedia, so I was always reading those. But she also had Dune.
Oh, Dune.
And heavy metal. Dune
back then. Okay.
She had the Dune novels and heavy metal comic books. You ever see heavy metal?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I was in those heavy metal books. I shouldn't have been looking at it. It was very erotic, right? And so that's something people don't know about me. I knew every heavy metal edition.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so that's what influenced me. Okay, so what advice would you give, like, to our audience? Final words of wisdom to, and not just the kids, because, you know, the adults need you.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
We might need you more than them at this point.
Well, I mean, everything that we interact with, you know, with touch, smell, taste, you know, comes from one concept, and that's an idea in our brain, right? So I have this concept called conceive it in your mind, believe it in your heart, and achieve it with your hands. So conceive, believe, achieve, you know, and anything that you come up, you want to be able to manifest. And the only way to be able to manifest is you got to have belief in it.
That's amazing. I don't even know what else to ask. I feel like I manifested you here today.
No, we manifested this.
Seriously.
We were talking, you know.
And we didn't even work hard at it, right? It was very simple. I'm like, you're going to be here. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna be on this podcast.
But you planted the seed a couple of months ago, you know, when we were talking about this whole thing. Yes. And I wasn't even 100% sure if I was going to make it to this conference.
I said I manifested
and you said, hey, you coming out, we're going to do this podcast and let's see how we could collaborate.
Yes.
And this is what came out of it.
I'm so excited. I'm so proud of you, cousin.
I'm proud of you.
I'm so proud of you, my cousin. That's my cousin. Okay. Well, check this out. You got PB Soldier. This is beautiful. We have another. Oh, tell me more.
And then we have Jason, the rose that grew from the concrete.
Yes.
I mean, if you know anything about a rose, and the symbolism in taking a rose that grew from the concrete, you know, shortly after making a breakthrough for the cure for cancer, research oncologist Jason Scott lay handcuffed to a hospital bed close to death while authorities attempt to question her about the shootout on the Renaissance City Turnpike that claimed the life of an anti-terrorism squad trooper, only to discover that the cure costs more than the lives it will save.
Wow.
That's the premise for this particular graphic novel.
That's amazing.
And Jason, as you can see, I mean, just from the symbolism, we talk about something that's beautiful,
right?
But had to grow through and go through so much in order to, you know, bloom through concrete.
Wow. That reminds me of so many things. It reminded me of Dr. Sebi.
Oh, yes.
Because they said he had a cure for cancer and possibly AIDS. And that could have been what took his life. As they said, it was a conspiracy to take his life because he had a cure. And also my sister, Rashana Finney, your cousin, she does sip and paints. And one of her favorite things to paint is the rose coming from a concrete. Have you ever seen that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So she does.
Well, you know, she's a big Tupac fan. So that's part of it too.
That's right. I didn't even, so I should have known that. Well, what else would you like to leave us with before we close?
I mean, you know, we have a podcast called the Futures Black Podcast. You know, follow us at PBS Media Studios, which is Focus Black Star Media, PH, you know, Focus with a PH. So definitely follow us on that. And I'm available, via social media at Director Gifted on Instagram, and just Naseed Gifted on every other platform.
And you have a nonprofit.
Oh, yes, I do have a nonprofit where we do our comic and animation film festival called KhemFest, and the Khem Animation Film Festival, which we will have our 11th annual on September 27th in Newark, New Jersey.
That's amazing. So how can they send money?
Oh, well, definitely if you go to pbssteam.org, we have all of the channels for you to be able to donate to our cause.
That's right. Donate, because, this is the cause we need to support. Well, I'm so proud of you, and I look forward to you. Why don't you just move to L.A.? I think you could be a lot more.
I'm thinking about, as my daughter is looking to graduate next year, I am looking to move somewhere.
I think you belong here in LA. So just come on.
I'm definitely looking to, get out of Jersey.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we love you, Jersey, but we got to move around.
Yes,
okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I am so excited. You could tell I was just like bursting. I can't even think of the word. Beaming, bursting with pride and joy to have just, look at what our Black men are doing. I told you, don't be talking about the Black man, okay? They are brilliant, geniuses, okay? So thank you again for joining me at the Ask Mrs. HR podcast. Make sure you make sure you subscribe. If you have questions, DM me, reach out. But stay tuned. We got more amazing guests coming up this season. Season 2 is going to be all that and then some. And stay tuned. Bye.